You're good.
Seven 30 a.m. 1039 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Uffine. Sitting to my left, of course, co-host Richie on the show this morning, and Pops on the other side of the camera there. Boy, do we have a day to talk about the upcoming national championship on Monday. The hottest team in the country, most physical team in the country versus the most ruthless, efficient team in the country. This is what I like to say about them.
Ruthlessly efficient is a great way to name them.
Ruthlessly efficient is the exact, I think, phrase that they will live down by the end of this whole thing. And we're going to be previewing and give our predictions at the end of the show here of what we think is going to happen in the national championship game. I'm going to ask you guys to convince me to get off the Indiana train. Because I just do not see a open, blatant reason to convince myself that Miami can beat them. Of course, transfer portal is now closed. What happened and how much movement did we actually see this year? It was a ton of movement. This may have been the most player-driven portal we have seen in the last couple of years. And then on the other side is, me and Pops were talking about this before the show. What actually happens to the kids that don't sign with a team after the portal?
I actually know the answer to that.
And it's an interesting kind of topic here because a lot of kids in their career, that is probably the last snap they will ever play in college football is for the previous team before they were in the portal. Or you have the option of going back to your former team and saying, I'm sorry, I know I checked out of the team. I want to come back. Do you still have your scholarship for me? And then it's up to the coaching staff to let you back on the team. And then you also have the option to go down to the FCS. And it's so I mean, it
not a lot of money down there.
No. Again, we asked the question, is the transfer portal really the best thing for college football at the end of the day? Jamie Ness hitting us up on YouTube. Jamie, good morning. Guys, if you want to hit us up on YouTube, you can as well. Just hit us up in there in the comment box during the show.
Tell us where you're from. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you can catch us anytime we go live. But if you're in the chat right now, let us know where you're from.
All right, so chat, I'm going to open you up on this too as well. Convince me that there's a reason that Miami can and will win the national championship. What is the path that they have to do to go and win the national championship against Indiana on Monday?
Do you want to be convinced or are you just looking for a reason?
I'm looking for a reason to be convinced of a path to victory for them. I mean, the last couple of weeks, we've seen Indiana completely make Alabama turn into goo, essentially. They obliterated Indiana on the first play of the game.
Oregon.
Yeah. Obliterated. I mean, completely lost their confidence in them.
That's because of your conspiracy theory from Wednesday night. They knew what play they were going to run.
That's it right there. All right. So if Indiana knows this, they know Miami stuff too.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So where's the path for I mean, I know the path, but I want to see other people kind of jumping in on this and seeing if this is actually a popular take. Because if I'm the only one sitting here and saying it, I'm just a little old dot in the world, right? I don't know if Miami staff has got this right either.
Well, I think the overarching easy answer to your question is Indiana and Ohio State played each other like what feels like 7 months ago, but it was like 7 weeks ago, and it was 13-10 if my math serves me correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then Miami went and played Ohio State, and it was not that close. Miami made Ohio State look really, really pedestrian. So the easy answer to your question is if Miami can do that to Ohio State, why can't they do it to Indiana?
Yeah, 100%. I think you're right there. That's not really the game that I'm specifically looking at, though. Of what is the actual path to victory and success?
Oh, you want an actual a path for success?
There's a
Miami
specific path that they need to follow, and they need to mimic another team. This same team went to the wire with Indiana.
Come on, Penn State.
Penn State went to the wire with Indiana.
150. They need as close to 150 yards rushing as possible.
So you know how many times Penn State ran the ball in that ball game?
I don't.
33 times.
Okay, so
that was the most any team has run on Indiana this entire year.
And they came that close to winning.
That close.
What you're saying is Indiana needs long drives, right? They need to eat the ball. They need running backs.
Miami does.
Miami does.
Yes.
Miami needs to eat the ball, right? They need to eat all the way down the field. They got to keep their third down efficiency up. They got no turnovers. I have no idea what the stat was with the turnovers on that game or Penn State.
Miami's been one of the best non-turnover teams all season.
Exactly right. Okay, so you have to minimize the mistakes as much as possible if you're Miami, because you're facing an Indiana team that doesn't make mistakes at all. Point blank, they just do not do it. Okay, so the biggest thing to do there, pound the ball away. Just pound it right into the dirt. You have Mark Fletcher Jr., who had 1,080 yards this year, 5.5 yards per carry, 10 touchdowns. Versus AP top 25 teams, he had 256 yards, 5.5 yards per carry, and 3 touchdowns. You have a guy to do this. You have the running ability to go out there and say this, okay? Now, obviously, Indiana has one of the nation's best run defenses. Alabama ran the ball 17 times. They gave up on the run completely. You have to run against this Indiana team. Oregon didn't have their normal running backs, but they ran just 26 times. Okay? You have to keep up with the run on this team. And if you look back at that Oregon game, on paper, if you look at it, would have won that game. The
what?
Yeah.
You talking about the first time they played?
No. Second time they played. You want to go through the stats of that game? Okay. First downs. Oregon had 20. Indiana had 18. Third down efficiency, 8 for 13 for Oregon, 11 for 14 for Indiana. Okay. A little bit better there for Indiana. Okay.
Hold on. I want to start with the first stat you just said.
Yes.
The first downs.
Yes.
How many did Oregon have? Not the first drive where they threw the touchdown to the wrong color jersey, which I don't know if you know this. You're not supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The second drive they had, how many first downs did they have on that drive?
I couldn't tell you.
It was a 16, if I remember correctly, it was either 16 or 17 play drive, and they had like 5 or 6 first downs on that drive alone. So I see what you're saying, but Indiana absolutely just destroyed them over the top for 30 and 40-yard plays. They didn't need that many first downs.
But when you look at the paper, though, okay, with
you're saying on paper.
Yes, total yards, 378 yards for Oregon, 362 for Indiana. Passing, Oregon was way over top, 285, 187 to Indiana.
Yeah.
Okay. You go down to
the greatest quarterback in this year.
Yeah.
Only had 180 yards passing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. The guy they gave the trophy to.
And he is
environment, you take a bad beat. The first tumble pass in cheerleading, you slip up. It throws you off mentally for the entire remainder of your time. And so you
Guys, we lost internet real quick. We'll go ahead and continue on with this break and be right back.
I saw it coming, man. It like paused it like
7:30 a.m. College football show. We're having a little bit of tech issues on the radio side as well as here on YouTube as well. A lot of internet issues that we're trying to figure out and trying to push through right along here. But if we do have any more interruptions, just know we're going to try to come back to you no matter the case. So we were having a discussion about really what comes in common on how you have to beat this Indiana team. And we were going back and forth about the game with Indiana and Oregon. And I had made a comment about the direct problem in that game for Oregon, really, that kept them out was the turnover issues.
Yeah, and I was saying before Mom picked up the telephone upstairs, joke on the YouTube comment side, that first turnover really threw them for a loop. Well, at least I thought it did. You know, I've never played major sports. It doesn't matter if you're a poker player. I gave a shout out to my daughter being a cheerleader or a football program. When you go into a game, that is the most hyped you are. You're the most focused. You've practiced and planned that first drive, that first idea and everything. And if you are at a poker table and that first hand you take a bad beat, or if you stumble on the first cheer pass, or you throw a pick six on your opening drive, that has a tendency to get into your head and completely throw you off.
Mm-hmm.
I say that to then say, because I remember we were watching the Oregon Indiana game, and I texted some buddies and I said, well, that was quick with the pick six. And then I think it was 15, 16 plays, and Oregon just methodically went down the field on their second drive. And I texted that same group of guys and I said, wasn't as quick, but that was methodical. Like, okay, we've got ourselves an actual ball game here. And then it was like all of a sudden Indiana took a punch to the mouth and they're like, okay, cool, we're playing now. And just completely just wore them out. And as much as Oregon had the turnovers, Indiana forced them and caused them and was able to get on the turnovers, which made the big difference in the Alabama-Indiana game. Ty Simpson jumps on that ball. We've got a chance to make it 10-7 right there early or in the first quarter. And you may be talking about, okay, now we've got a little confidence behind us because we put the ball in the end zone. Instead, we fall behind 17-0 again. And the players are like, well, this ain't Oklahoma, and started going over to the sideline and packing their stuff up.
So could you sit here and say that to win this game, Miami has to jump out there and throw the first punch? Because we talk about the last two games, right? With both Oregon and Alabama, both punches early on were from Indiana. The pick against Oregon, and then Alabama was the fumble with Ty Simpson.
I think what gives Miami the chance to win this game is what I think is in turn might cost them the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that is them running and holding onto the ball.
Time of possession.
Yeah. I think Miami has a chance to be able to play from out front where Indiana doesn't care. Indiana could be down 17-0 at halftime. They are not going to care. They're not going to blink. They're going to come back out and they're going to jam it down your throat in the second half. And so Miami, I don't think, has the ability to break away in this game.
So during the break, we were saying I had a question I wanted to challenge you guys with as we were talking about Miami controlling the football and running the football. And if that's the case, you say that's the key to victory. I'll agree with Richie's point here. Is my question to you so you're going to take the ball out of the hands of the most experienced quarterback in college football with Carson Beck. If all you're going to do is hand the ball off, any Joe Schmo can hand the ball off. You need to ride Carson's Beck experience. I've been saying this all throughout all of the playoffs.
They have, but at the same time, Mark Fletcher Jr. has also taken over on the ground. So when I'm saying ground and pound, yes, they need to ground and pound. We need 130 yards from Mark Fletcher Jr. in this game alone. But on top of that, Carson Beck has to feed off that running presence from Mark Fletcher Jr. And in turn, the same way, Fletcher's got to feed off Carson Beck's experience. They've done this throughout the playoffs. That's been their whole route to victory so far. So I'm not saying take Carson Beck out of the game. No, they need Carson Beck in this game not just a standing figure behind Mark Fletcher. They still have to hit those dink and dunk short passes. Mark Fletcher Jr., get the run game going. When those safeties come up, then go deep with it, okay? But Cignetti's a smart coach. He's going to adjust to this. We've seen him adjust to many things over the last year with how offense are playing and strategically, okay? But Miami's got to counter this ruthless efficiency from Indiana here. If they do nothing and sit back there and just try to play their normal game of football, Cignetti is going to dissect it.
Do you think that Miami can play this? We're talking about running the ball, the RPOs, the quick dinks and dumps out to the flats, all those types of things. And, but my point back to the question is control the ball. How do you do that? Do you think that Miami can keep up with Indiana if you get these 1-2 punches? Like Indiana jumps out there, they control the ball for 5 minutes, they score a touchdown. Can Miami do that and survive the entire game playing to Indiana style?
Well, I think that goes back to what I was just saying is what gives Miami the opportunity to win this game is what keeps them from being able to just blow it out.
Yeah.
Because even if they go on a 15-play drive, Indiana can just come back and in 5 plays and tie the ball game back up. So at no point in time does Indiana feel like they're out of even if Miami hits them with a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
And that was a whole conversation we had when Miami was playing Ohio State. I told you, I said, what if Miami comes out and hits them with a 1-2 punch? And I even said, it may not be 14-0, but it could be 10-0. Lo and behold, it was 14-0. And Ohio State said, good night, everybody, and started warming the bus up.
And Miami was that early team that we said, before Indiana even played, because Miami played in the first round, it was like, okay, this team is the hottest team. After that game, we looked at them and said it's physicality. There's strengths all over the place for Miami against Texas A&M, the team I picked to win the national championship. So, Miami has this, they had that factor of when early on, they were the team to beat, and then quickly Indiana grabbed that title from them.
Right. And I agree with that. I was going to go back to a point Pops made about Carson Beck having the most experience. You are 100% correct. He's started 41 games. He has started the most playoff games at this point of
in his 17th year. I mean 7th year.
Somewhere between 7 and 17.
Remember Malachi Toney when Carson Beck was a freshman, was 11 years old in middle school.
Good grief.
Back to your point, Rich.
Sorry. But Mendoza has started 24 games.
Mm-hmm.
We are at a point where if you take a team, let me think of a team. Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame played how many games this year?
The normal amount.
12.
They didn't the playoffs, so they played 12.
They didn't play in a conference championship game.
Okay,
They didn't play in a bowl game. They played 12. Mendoza's fixing to play his 16th game. It's not like he doesn't have experience, that he's not when you're talking about these teams like Indiana and stuff like that, if you're going to go up against, you have a possibility of, we were talking about being, 30 years old and still playing college football on Wednesday's show. If you got a team that gets hot like this, where Mendoza plays 15, 16 games a season, well, at 16 this year, obviously he's going to go to the NFL next year, but he could in some weird way. If you had a freshman or a sophomore that went off, 16 and 16 is 32. You've almost played 3 seasons over, another team's only 2 seasons. Well, if you do that again your senior year, so you are talking about a lot of experience from Beck, and with everything that he did at Georgia and now has gone out there in Miami. But I think also his experience is what's going to allow him to not feel like he has to take over the game.
Hey, Kels, real quick online, you got D, you got Carl, you got Brooks talking about Miami's defense, and they say that defense is what's going to separate Miami in this game.
Well, I understand that Miami has a very good defense. And on the same term, so does Indiana. There's this Miami team has the strengths to go out there and compete with Indiana. There's no issue with that, okay? But they have to lean on certain areas. But they do. Cristobal has to change up his game a little bit. If the leak is true that Cignetti knows some stuff that he probably shouldn't know,
right.
Okay? Either way, they've got to figure out how to, they have to figure out how to kind of break up what they've done in the past and get to where Cignetti's not expecting what is coming. Now, I believe Cignetti can adjust to what Miami can push out there, what Cristobal can put out there. But Miami has to keep that edge during the entire ball game. Guys, if you're just tuning in, stick around to the other side. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. But just remember, before we do so, hit back to what I said earlier in the show. I want you guys to convince me why Indiana is going to lose this game, because right now I just do not see it happening. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey. Richie Jones sitting to my left, co-host Pops on the other side of the camera there. Big shout out to those guys on YouTube hitting us up in the comment section. Brooks, Eli, John over there. A lot of them doing a lot of the work for us and keeping the conversation rolling. Y'all keep coming in. We really appreciate you guys, and we love to see you guys having a conversation on the side over here, building the Off the Bench community, as we like to say. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe on there as well. Turn on that notification bell so you know when we go live and post, of course, the clips throughout the week. We continue this conversation about why Indiana or why Miami could win this game. What is the path for victory for Miami? And do they truly have the pieces for Indiana or to hold up and compete and actually beat Indiana? Well, here's the truth of the whole thing. Indiana's beatable. We just hadn't seen it yet this season. We haven't seen a team come out there with a methodical mindset to absolutely, completely separate what Indiana has been doing and what they could be doing.
I will take a umbrage in something that you said, because you said it one way when we were going to the break, and then you just said it a completely different way, and it just hit me, like literally. When you went to the break, you told me, you asked the chat on YouTube to tell you how Indiana could lose this game. I don't think that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
It is very likely that Miami could win this game. I don't think it's possible that Indiana could lose this game.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is I don't see Indiana giving up the ball and stupid penalties and dumb plays and trick plays that don't work and fourth and fours and they decide to run the ball.
Man, what team are you describing there, Richie?
It could be anybody.
Anybody.
Could be anybody. Allegedly. But I could see a path to where Miami could win the game. Miami actually has to go out there and beat Indiana. Indiana just has to go out there and beat Indiana. And that could, if I call you Monday night at 11:30 midnight, whatever time this game is over, and you didn't watch the game, and I just tell you the final score was 42-14, who won the game?
Indiana.
Not even a question.
Yeah.
But if I tell you, hey man, final score was 14-10.
See, if you brought those, seeing what Indiana has done throughout the year and seeing the box scores that they have actually put up, I would be like, well, so they won a close one? I mean, it just based on off the Penn State game of what we saw them do. And I've laid out the factor of what, Miami should do with Mark Fletcher Jr. and how they have to feed off, Carson Beck's experience and Mark Fletcher's ability to run the ball. But the biggest thing in this game is, and I heard Kublik talk about this the other day, it's mistakes. You have to make this Indiana team make mistakes. I've said it, the last couple of weeks, ruthless efficiency is what Indiana has.
Yeah.
And if they don't make mistakes, there's no path to victory for Miami in this game, I think. If you put up 350 odd passing yards with 190 rushing yards on Miami, man, that's one lopsided offense.
Right.
But if Indiana makes no mistakes, it does the same thing on the other side, Miami's going to come out with a loss in this game.
Right. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
How many interceptions has quarterback Mendoza? How many interceptions has he thrown this year?
Well, 6 interceptions.
Yeah. Okay. I love the point that 1204 Big D Online is making. Mm-hmm. They played 15 games, 41 passing touchdowns, 6 rushing, and only 6 interceptions from Mendoza. Okay, and Indiana's D has only allowed 16 total touchdowns.
Right.
Okay, that's a touchdown a game.
Yeah.
Okay.
This defense is way better than people are giving credit
How can
for.
Miami compete with that in a series of 4 quarters? That's tough, man.
I think Miami's offensive line is at worst the second best they're going to go up against this year. I don't know when it comes to line play if Ohio State is better than Miami on both sides of the ball, but Miami is at worst the second best line that Indiana will go up against all year, or has gone up against all year. You know what's funny? I just we could be talking a couple days about a team that wasn't even supposed to make the daggone playoffs,
Wasn't at all.
hoisting the trophy at home.
Yeah.
You know, as crazy as that was, we're a BYU win away from Miami not even making the 12.
Mm-hmm.
So real quick, then you talking about this game being at home? Does that give Miami an advantage?
We've seen Indiana fans travel so well the last couple of weeks.
Well, we were talking at the start of the show before we went on live that you were looking at the ticket prices, and if I'm not mistaken,
$4,000 is the cheapest ticket in the venue.
Right
just about $4,000. I think it's $3,900 some change.
Yeah, once you buy a hot dog and a beer, you're at $4,000 to get in.
100%. Okay, there's no telling what beer prices are at this game. No telling what food. You want a pretzel? Go pay $20 over there for a pretzel.
Take out a mortgage.
$25 for a beer. Parking on top of that. I had made the joke. There's two things that I need to go on and invest in, and that's parking lots and flying down to Miami just to Uber on Monday.
Yeah. I said we could fly down, rent like the nicest car we could get, and Uber. And I mean, each Uber is going to be $300-400, you know, each way for this game. I hope I think about it now. Actually, you can pull up the Uber app and put in and see.
It's funny. We talked about the affordability of going to the Rose Bowl this year,
right?
And I say affordability. I mean, you're still paying you're still paying around probably $1,500 for a trip from Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, I mean that was air flight, that was the hotel if you stayed the night. But what was a big surprise about that game was
the ticket prices were
low.
Not that bad.
The three of us could have gone flown from Huntsville to the Rose Bowl, got a hotel, eaten a nice Italian meal in Los Angeles, gone to the game, flown home for the same price that one of us could.
One ticket. That's just the ticket.
One ticket for this game
to get in.
And you know, look. Miami National Championships, nothing to harp on. This is once in a lifetime memories for fans, especially of those respective teams. And, you know, I've got a buddy who's in a weird situation about this, okay? Went to the University of Alabama. He's a constant viewer of the show. I think he's on radio this morning. Went to the University of Alabama, graduated from the University of Alabama. He's got family ties to Miami, okay? Grew up a big Miami Hurricane fan. On the other side, though, guess who has connections to Miami? Fernando Mendoza.
Yes.
So it's just the connections for this game. We talked about the connections and why these ticket prices are so high. You have, of course, hometown team in Miami playing in their home stadium for a national championship. On top of that, weirdly enough, they're the away team in this game.
Yep.
Okay. I would love it if we went color on color in this game, but it will not happen.
Yeah. All national championships, all rivalries should be color on color.
Color on color will not happen.
I'm adding that to when I become czar of college football, I will solve that problem.
Now, I will say this because everybody wants to continue the conversation about we shouldn't have this game on a Monday.
I agree.
Let's talk about the implications if this game was played on a Saturday.
So you could, let's say we were today.
I think money-wise, for the city of Miami alone,
they love it that it's on a Monday.
You think they love it?
Oh yeah, you got the entire weekend to build up. People flying on a Friday. You got people down on South Beach all weekend long, and then Monday the game happens. Tuesday morning they fly out. Dude, it turns into a 5-day weekend for those folks in Miami.
You can look at it that way.
Dollar.
I would say that it just amplifies if that game is played on a Saturday. And not only that, it's a 3-day weekend already.
I will tell you my biggest problem with it, and I heard somebody talk about this. So if we move either way, I'll talk about if we moved it to Saturday.
Yeah.
So there's 2 NFL playoff games today, which we may bring up later in the show. We may not. We'll see if we got time or not. So you would have to get NBC to agree to put one of those on as the noon kickoff.
Yeah.
Then CBS keeps their 3:30 slot, and then ESPN takes over the 6:30 on slot. My problem with that is all day Friday, what are the drive-bys talking about? Other than us who live in college football Mecca, I mean, you know, they're all talking about the NFL playoff games. And then Sunday, they're going to talk about what happened in the other 2 playoff games and what's happening in the other 2. There's 2 more playoff games Sunday. I think at 3:30 and at 7 o'clock again. And then Monday comes, and what's everybody from Colin Cowherd to, you know, everybody not named Paul Feinbaum, Monday is going to talk about the 4 NFL playoff games. So you either way you look at it, you become the middle of the sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think it's college football. It should be played on a Saturday anyway, but with the Sunday thing, with the Monday, at least you get all the NFL stuff done. And Monday morning, Colin can talk about the 4 NFL games and the playoff that's coming. And then Tuesday, they talk all about the playoff game and how it happened and everything and all the head coaches that got fired.
Well, you're going to hate the calendar next year, but it's a week later, the national championship. There's some weird bye week. Yeah.
So real quick, Anthony online, he literally said, "Hey, off the bench crew, read my last 3 comments." And I love the comment that he's making about, how people keep bringing up the domination of Indiana fans in the stadium, but Miami fans are going to be tailgating outside the stadium the whole game if they can't get in the stadium, right? Yeah. Are you going to have Indiana fans out there tailgating if
absolutely
they're going to travel for that?
Oh yeah.
And then you're going to have these Miami guys that are constantly there the entire week before the game even starts.
Think about this. We're going to go to break real quickly here in a second, but Anthony, thank you for the comment here. Guys, I mean, you have to realize these are 2 teams. Indiana's never played a national championship. This will be their first one ever. So yes, these fans are traveling, and it's weird to see because you never thought Indiana fans are traveling. That just seems weird because it never
Final
happened.
Fours.
Final Four, right, up to Final Fours in basketball. But now you see them traveling in football. And on the other side, it's been about a generation since Miami has played a meaningful football game.
Mm-hmm.
Since, was it 02-03? Maybe the 03-04 season?
3. Yeah, 03.
03?
Yeah.
Okay. Since they have played in a meaningful college football game. They haven't seen it in a long time. So this new generation of fans have been completely, they are completely in on. I talked about my buddy. He's about the same age as me, right? In fact, he is the same age as me. This is his first time since he can remember, since he has been, I guess, conscious,
that Miami's good.
Yeah.
Since he was born.
Since he was conscious, really.
The U's not back.
All right, so the U's not back. But I make the point of, since this is his first time seeing this actually to where he is a meaningful football game for Miami fans. So these young fans are getting a very good treatment of Miami and what they could be going forward into the future.
If there's 1 million Miami fans in the parking lot tailgating, does that affect the game?
Yeah.
Or does the fans that actually paid the $4,000 to get in, that are yelling and screaming on 3rd down and 4th down, actually affect the game?
It affects the atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere.
I think you're right for the fans.
Yeah.
I don't think it affects the players one bit. I don't think the players give a rat if there's 1 million Miami fans or 1 million Indiana fans or 1 million Alabama fans in the parking lot.
We got to go take a quick break here right now, guys, on the radio side. Remember the question that I had asked. Keep trying to convince me. Is there a path for Miami to actually win this game? Because I just do not see it. I still don't see it. Y'all keep trying to convince me, but I just do not see the path for Miami to actually win this game in the national championship. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. We'll be right back. $7:30 a.m. 1039 FM, Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. We'll be talking about the national championship upcoming on Monday. And I want you guys to specifically convince me why and does Miami have a path to win this game. Now, I was talking about my buddy hit me up. We've been talking about this game, his connection to Miami. This is coming from the perspective of a Miami fan. If Miami can get after Mendoza and play man-to-man, not allowing Mendoza to pick us apart with zone defense, our path will be laid out in front of us. I think if we get after Mendoza and hit him early in the mouth, it'll be hard for Indiana to get Mendoza out of the pocket, throwing on the run and making it difficult for him to make a play.
That sounds like what Alabama
Similar
did.
to what Alabama did in the Rose Bowl, and Cignetti adjusted. So I'm just saying.
It was 2 sacks in the first series.
If I remember right.
Was it 3?
I think it was 2 or 3 on the first series. So yes, there is a path there for Miami to do that, but it's all about the adjustments that Cignetti makes, and in turn, Mario Cristobal has to make those adjustments as well. Guys, we really appreciate the comments on the YouTube side. Keep them rolling in. Surprise, surprise, we're going 2 hours today on YouTube.
Let's go, baby.
Keeping the float alive here, as y'all have been amazing just tuning in. And keep an engagement with us.
Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. You never know when we might go live and do something silly or goofy or watch a football game and talk with y'all. And
have a quick question for those online. Hey, put a comment in there where you're from, where you slept last night, right? So that we know where we're talking to, right? Anthony, because I don't know Anthony, right?
We got a lot of new listeners here, new viewers here that are tuning into the show, and we really appreciate it.
Be careful.
Be careful when I say where you slept last night. Just where you're watching from. That would be great. Okay.
Sarasota, making a long trip over here.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, cool.
Thanks Anthony, for tuning in here. Guys, incredible show so far. We still got an hour to go on this Saturday before the national championship that's taking place Monday. If only we could have the game.
Okay,
tonight.
Who's 1204 Big D? They may know. Okay, who is it? Come on. You got a Huntsville Stars logo there.
Local Huntsville Stars. That's a Rocket City trash right there.
I can't believe I said that.
He went back 15 years.
Pops is coming out. His age is coming out.
He went back 15 years back to the Huntsville Stars.
Man, I was thinking about when we used to go sit in the box and watch those games. And I was thinking minor league baseball, and I instantly said, okay, Jamie Paducah, Kentucky, Sarasota, Florida, Huntsville, Alabama.
7:30 a.m., 1039 FM, Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. Guys, another quick break. I know YouTube side's getting tired of it, but we got to roll through with the radio side as well. This one's a short break, so we'll be right back here in just a couple of minutes here. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. 7:30 a.m. 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Huffine. Sitting to my left over here is co-host Richie.
Good morning.
Jones. Pops across this camera as well. I just realized it was an old intro song.
That's fine.
I had the old little nickname I had attached to me. Not there anymore. I have to make sure that's all fine and dandy for next week. But we've been going heavy this morning, of course, on the upcoming national championship taking place Monday in Miami, Florida, Hard Rock Stadium. And I continue to ask the question to convince me of why Miami has a path to victory in this game. I still don't see it.
Okay, let's just say this. Who's Miami beat to get to this game?
Well, they
Kelsey's national champion.
Texas A&M, Ohio State. I'm missing another team.
You do realize if Miami wins this game, you were that close to being right.
Hey, it's always good to go out as the team that won the whole thing.
Right. I mean, if you're going to get beat, you might as well
get beat. You want to get beat by the team that won the whole thing.
Let's not pretend that Miami has not played top tier teams, because they have. You know, they were the number 10 seed coming into this. Okay. So they got to run a very competitive schedule all the way through the playoff. They didn't get the bye, any of that kind of thing. Right. So, I mean, props to Miami on this, man. And I keep coming back to it for the last 4 weeks. You know, old Pops over here has said experience wins it. Experience wins it. You got the 7th-year quarterback in Carson Beck. Okay. You've got a solid defense. You got the most aggressive team in football. I think Miami's got a very clear path. They just need to keep doing what they've continued to do.
Anthony helped me out here. Anthony, Ole Miss was the other team I was missing of who they beat. I completely forgot about Ole Miss and Trinidad Shameless over there, who's now filed an injunction against the NCAA.
Yeah, with the state. Like,
we can start calling him number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah, he's the 3rd quarterback taken in the NFL draft.
He's going pro. There's no more path for him. Although I love to see Trinidad Shameless back in college football, but I just don't see it.
I mean, does he just get off on playing 18 and 19-year-old kids when he's a 25-year-old man?
Remember, we're on the radio side.
I know.
I don't know if that.
I didn't say anything. You know, I'm just saying. I think there's this piece with these guys.
Yeah.
They keep coming back. I mean, you hear me being the biggest champion of Carson Beck, but come on, he's played 7 years in college football, and at this point, like Kelsey, you've made this point many times. His receivers, he's got receivers on the left and the right that were 11 and 12 years old when Carson Beck first went into college.
Yeah, I mean that's perfectly understandable. And you want to talk about playmakers on this game and who are the biggest playmakers to look out for and watch for. Who's a better playmaker? Would it be Omar Cooper for Indiana, or would it be Malachi Tony? Who is going to show up bigger in this game to complement their quarterback on their respective sides?
Well, I want to play off of what Pops just said there a little bit. We've not to get political at all, but there's been some talk in Congress and the Supreme Court about who's allowed to play in what sports and everything. Is it a thought where it is unfair that a guy's that much older than his opponents, and is it a thing where we've got to figure out some sort of actual rules and regulations with college football that don't allow somebody to be playing when they're a grown-ass man on the radio?
You just did.
Okay. Playing against 18, 19-year-old kids, is that fair? Is it fair that the Indiana Hoosiers current age is higher than that of a team who played in the NFL playoffs last weekend?
Yeah, we've talked about this till we're blue in the face about how there's been a couple of teams this year. Indiana's one of them. So was Vanderbilt. So was Missouri. Their average age on their team, because they used the transfer portal for what it was last year.
Yeah.
They signed these experienced redshirt guys that have redshirted, multiple years because of the rules, and they took a COVID year and all of those things. So we're seeing the tail end of that, right? But what the end result is a team that is averaging like 23, 22, 24 years old, playing teams like some of the other bigger names. They're much younger. These younger teams got much more talent, right? But the older teams, what do they've got? And they keep jumping on this bandwagon. They've got experience. They've been there. They've been in the trenches. They've played a lot of football.
Yeah. I'm sure with you. And, I had conversations this week about that. And over, TikTok, you follow me on TikTok, you can find the clips there as well at kelsey.huffine. But, I was having the conversations about, can you actually, will Indiana be able to maintain the dominance they've had when you go toward the future and realize, oh, there's no more COVID year? These guys aren't going to be as old as they are playing now. You're going to drop this age by 4 years on their roster.
In theory,
yes, that's what will happen. So, obviously Cignetti could go after these graduate transfers every year and still maintain a, 22, 23-year-old roster, so, there's opportunities there that are going to kind of limit what you can do in the future, because that opportunity is not going to be there much longer for Cignetti to go after these really old players who have a ton of experience playing football. But you're right, Pops. I mean, a lot of these teams that kind of changed their method over the past couple of years, when going through the portal, they did so and they valued experience. And Indiana is a perfect example of that. They have, guys that they have went after, no matter where they were playing school. If they have production, if they have this immense amount of experience, Indiana went after them. And it's kind of displayed of how, I'll say it like this, the weakness of the Big Ten, because when you have these bottom tier Big Ten teams, you beat up and feed on them, which is essentially what they've done the last 2 years. That they beat up and fed on these very low tier Big Ten schools. And eventually when you get to the point, you've built up this confidence and you have kind of fixed the holes on your team, and you're able to rotate in and out and bypass these holes that were not created, and you focus on the little things. Cignetti has built a system and he's facilitated this system, but I don't know how much it is maintainable.
Well, I will even go off this. What you just said there is the reason why Ohio State lost.
Mm-hmm.
They fed off bottom feeders all season, and then the first time they actually got punched in the mouth by Indiana.
Which what I'm saying, the difference between Ohio State and Indiana right there is Cignetti is focused on those little things. I think Cignetti's focused on the right team.
Yes.
And for what he's built his team with, I think it's exactly the notion of how he's facilitated this team. He has done a fantastic job at completely just focusing on the things that need to be focused on when you have a team with as much experience as you have.
And I think you were fixing to say there, Cignetti focuses on Indiana.
Yeah.
Where Ohio State focused on who they were playing.
Yes.
And so if Miami goes out there, so Monday night, Indiana is going to focus on Indiana. If Miami goes out there and focuses on Indiana, Miami loses.
Guys, we're not the only ones thinking this. Like Levi Massey. Indiana's the oldest team in college football with the average age of 23. So there's experience for you. But I got to make a point with what you're talking about, bottom feeder, right? Ohio State had a great year. I mean, right? Who did they play first game of the year?
Texas.
They played Texas, right? They kind of struggled in that game a little bit. You saw both the offenses kind of sputter.
Mm-hmm.
It was, the experts will say that the offenses, struggle initially and the defenses, play right the first couple of games, right? But then, you get into the big games. Who challenged them right off the bat? Michigan challenged them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Indiana beat them. Okay.
Yep.
They but these Ohio State teams that build off the big names, the Caleb Downs, the All-Americans, all of those types of things. How do you think Cignetti responds next year? Okay, he's got all these. He's going to have a bunch of big name transfer portal guys.
Nick Marsh of Michigan State.
That will be preseason All-Americans. How does he manage that?
For the first time ever, Indiana is going to start the season with a 1 next to their name.
So I've heard people talk about this all year, and a lot of teams have, and Alabama, I think, is victim to this. They have fed on that underdog mentality for a while.
Clemson.
Okay, right. Clemson did this too, right?
Yep.
They fed on this, and they built their program off being this underdog, being, underjudged and disrespected. They built this whole thing on this. Indiana's different. They didn't do that. They have never paid attention, and their players have never come out and said, "We'll handle it on the field. This is business. We'll take care of this." That's not what Indiana has been about. Indiana has been nose to the grindstone. We're paying attention to things that actually matter and how we want to build this program. That's the difference between Cignetti and how we're looking at the future of this. He has never fed off being an underdog, being disrespected. It's never been fed that way to Indiana. That's maintainable, but only for a certain amount of time. Indiana's past that amount of time because of how Cignetti has grown to this success so fast over the past 2 years.
2 years.
So that mentality that which could have broke Indiana, was never instilled in their guys. It was never instilled in this coaching staff or this university. So in the way Indiana set up for the future just by not setting their guys up for failure, trying to put that notion in there. Anthony hitting us up on YouTube. According to Pete Thamel, Darian Mensah from Duke is looking to transfer to Miami. I did see this. He entered the portal yesterday. There's only 2 eligible teams he could go to. Indiana is not one of them. He will be at Miami next year. Carson Beck will be out of the window there, as I think he's aged out at this point. He's going pro.
Does he make the pros?
Yeah.
Does he carry that forward?
Yeah.
Beck is he'll at least make an NFL team. I don't know that he'll ever be a franchise quarterback. I don't know that Ty Simpson's a franchise quarterback. I feel like Mendoza is. I feel like the NFL has had a lot of changes this season.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched a lot of NFL or not. You've had some big drop off with obviously Kansas City and the injuries took them out. The Eagles with Jalen Hurts, all of a sudden that team looks just pitiful. Like the beginning of the season, they were on fire. Green Bay, the same way, they started the season off on fire. They were headed in the right direction. They got to week like 8 and it just fell off. So you've got some issues with a lot of teams. You've had a lot of changeover, and like I said, I think there's still probably a couple more coaches that get fired in the NFL. So I think Mendoza is a NFL quarterback. I think Ty on the right team, sitting behind the right guy, could be a franchise quarterback in the future. Beck, it will be interesting to see, and I think Monday night he could finally write the check that he's been trying to write for the last 7 years in college, and that shining. I mean, there's not going to be a bigger stage and a bigger light with this being at home in his home stadium. If he can't go out there in Miami and throw the ball all over the field and everything, these NFL teams are gonna realize, no, we got to pass. We can't take him with a first pick. We can't take him with a first round. He may be a second or a third. So this game could really make or break a lot of money for Carson Beck.
You know, when you sit there and you look at the headlines for this game, even if you're not a Miami fan, Indiana fan, diehard Hoosier, diehard Hurricanes, all that kind of stuff, the U is back. Even if you're not a fan of all of that, think about like 2 common headlines in this, right? You know, Miami's playing at home, which is crazy for the national championship, right? Yeah. They're in Miami. They've got the sunshine. You know,
history favors that.
You know,
that
and then you look at all of the Indiana players' ties back to Miami.
Yeah.
Mendoza family, Miami.
He's from
right.
Miami, yeah.
I mean, so you know, from an entertainment perspective, it's kind of cool just to watch the game. You know, I know I'll be watching. You know, even though my beloved Alabama Crimson Tide were pushed out of the playoffs, but I know I'll be watching that game, and you know, and I'll be rooting for experience.
So Big D hitting us up on YouTube, but is age a factor? Do you have experience? If you're not playing, you can't get experience sitting on the bench as a red shirt. What about a walk-on 26-year-old that never went to college? I made the point is Indiana's valuing production rather than experience. And I think I wasn't clear enough about that. But there are teams out there that are going after that just straight up experience. And it can help to a point. We talk about these red shirts that have sat on the bench for years at these Georgias, these Alabamas, these high-level schools, and they go to a different school. That's still experience. You're still getting the practice. You're still getting the, you know, studying routes and doing a lot of this stuff. if a position change happened, and then that's always a pro to know the knowledge of two positions.
Mm-hmm. Well, your big difference there is, and I appreciate Big D in the chat. I actually figured out who that was, so a lot of love there. Uh, the biggest difference is if you take an 18-year-old kid who was in high school 2 years ago versus a kid who's been in college for 6 years, going through college practices, going through college workouts, going through the all the nutrition that they make these guys. You know, I saw a thing one time where Alabama weighed their players before they went onto the practice field and then weighed them after, so they knew how much Gatorade they were supposed to have and everything. Like, there's a huge difference in 6 years of you going to the gym every day and that being your job basically versus you've been doing it for 2 years. Yeah, you're going to look and be a lot more physical, and I think you were alluding to it there. The mental side of it is a huge difference. There is a huge difference. I can remember being 18 and I was dumb as this table is in front of me, and then I got 24 and I was just a little smarter than this table is. But there's a lot of growth there with, you know, especially on a football player and on a football field, even if you're just seeing games, if you're seeing the tape.
Did you see there were some pictures that were floating around the internet this week with all the Ty Simpson tampering and everything else that was going on this week with Ty Simpson? Did you see the pictures that were floating around when he was in Alabama, like 18, 19-year-old, whatever he was, when he was sitting the bench, and then the pictures of him today?
Oh, yeah.
Talking about the maturity growth, not only from a mental standpoint, watching tape, all that kind of good stuff, but from a physical standpoint, right?
You seen the pictures of Mac Jones?
Oh, Mac Jones was he went from
$120, $140.
Oh yeah.
I mean, small kid.
Yeah.
He just soaked up all that knowledge and almost strength at the university.
It's almost as different as when you see these presidents go in and come out 4 years later, and it's like, wow, you aged 30 years in 4 years, and these college football players, they are bulking up and adding weight and adding strength, and it's getting so much easier with, you know, you were talking about like Alabama having a general manager.
Yeah.
Well, how many guys does the University of Alabama have that their entire job is to make sure you're eating the right thing, that you're doing the right number of push-ups that you're supposed to be doing, or whatever workout it is. Lord, I've seen the video of Alabama's practice facility, and we have anti-gravity treadmills, so that if they have an injury, they can still run and keep their body weight, you know, at a minimum on there. Versus, you don't have that in high school.
No.
The greatest high school on the planet, Hoover University, doesn't have anti-gravity treadmills. Lord, I say that and watch somebody's going to pop in the chat and go, here's the pictures. Yeah, they do.
Somebody from Bob Jones or you know, Sparkman are 2 7A schools here in Huntsville, which produce decent teams. Somebody's going to say, yeah, we've got that, man.
Yeah, but you don't have as many guys whose entire purpose in life, their entire paycheck, is to make sure you ate the right thing today and that you did the workout you're supposed to do. Even shout out to Coach
Cafeteria Ann over here at Sparkman High School, man. That's what her job is.
Her job is to put another slice of pizza on your plate and move on.
Okay.
Shout out to Coach Lee at Sparkman. He works at Legacy Elementary School during the day, and then goes and coaches defense at Sparkman in the afternoon. Like,
and that was no knock on the Sparkman cafeteria lunch lady, by the way. I'm just using as an example. Here's to those lunch ladies out there.
I've made it through 4 years of high school because of them. So,
guys, real quickly, we do have to take a quick break here. And on the other side, we're going to get to a lot of your text questions and comments, and we're going to work all through them real quickly here. But this is the Off the Bench College Football Show. We'll be right back. 7:30 a.m., 1839 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey. I'll find Richie Jones sitting over here to my left. And, of course, Pop sitting over there on the other side of the camera.
Hey, Kelsey, tell us about that hat.
This is a great hat. I'll tell you. Brandon Bills, I got this hat over Christmas, and it's been my favorite hat since then. It's just a very nice, sleek build. Fits Pop's head, too. Pop's is a big head. So if you're worried about that.
Man, don't knock on my head.
But, yeah, it's an incredible hat, and I have nothing bad to say about it. If you want to get one, you can. Go to the YouTube description. Get it all set up for you there. Brandon Bills, affiliate partner of the show here. And the hat has just, it's been, I'm a big hat guy. Not that I am big hat, like I don't control the hat industry, but big hat guys I wear a hat a lot, especially here on the show. And they, hit up Brandon Bills. They hit me right back. So it was a good marriage made with the affiliate partnership there. And now I've made it available for really easy for you. If you want to go grab one, hit up the YouTube description.
Make sure you're hitting the YouTube description. It supports the show, guys. If you're going to buy one, hit that description
and guys,
support the show.
We're talking about supporting the show. The best way for you guys to support us here is to hit the follow button, hit that like button, and turn on the notification bell. As well as, of course, you want to hit up the description with Brandon Bills. You can do all that.
There's also the little QR code there you're looking at.
You can hit up the QR code, but that's all in favor of if you're enjoying the show. Yeah, leave us a little something there. The comment sections has been blowing up on the show here. And we keep seeing the analogy put in there by Anthony of it is a boxing match of how Cristobal runs this game, runs this team for Miami. And they want to hit them hard and they want to hit them fast. Now, Brooks on the other side going back and forth with that, saying Indiana's a boxer as well. So seeing two heavyweight bouts, two heavyweight fighters going at each other Monday night of who is going to hit harder. And at the end of the day, I keep saying, convince me that Miami has a path to win this game. Because every time I come up with something in my head, I go back and convince myself, well, I've seen Indiana do the same thing.
Right.
If Miami goes out there and they play a little differently, little heavier on the ground game, well, Indiana's going to adjust to it. I've seen Cignetti do it throughout this year. At the same time, if they go out there passing the ball with Carson Beck's experience, seeing Indiana win games just by making a team one-dimensional and taking advantage of it. So again, I ask, what is the path for victory for Miami to win this game?
Well, ultimately, I think it comes back to the run game. As awesome as Carson Beck is, and being a 19th year senior, red shirt, blue shirt, whatever color it was, COVID survivor. I think Indiana has to. Miami has to keep Mendoza and this offense of Indiana, which has been phenomenal for at least the last two games because they've put up a crap ton of points on Alabama and Oregon. They have to keep them off the field and on the bench, not to be confused with the name of the show of off the bench. They need to keep Mendoza on the bench, and the best way to do that is methodical drives, 10, 12, 15 play drives. But I keep coming back to the problem with that, and the only way I see Miami winning this game is that Mendoza then has to, Miami then, if they score, has to then send their defense out, and that allows Mendoza, the way this whole football thing works out, Mendoza then gets an opportunity to go out there, and it may be 4 plays later that Carson Beck's back out on the field, and the ball game's tied again.
How much does this game impact the future of college football in building teams as methodical as both these teams have done it? Miami has gone out there and they grabbed a veteran Carson Beck, a guy that has a lot of experience in college football. And at the same time, they have really built up in a lot of ways, kept these guys around. A lot of this offensive defense has been around for a while, and they've kind of grown homegrown talent On the other side with Indiana, they valued production in the portal, going to get those guys that had 600 yards last year, 3 touchdowns, averaging 5.5 yards per carry. Going in the future, are teams going to build off and kind of mimic what both these teams have done, depending on the outcome of this game? How much is it going to affect the future of building teams in college football?
Well, you better believe it. Come on. I mean, Cignetti's built a blueprint for how to take a team that was considered the laughingstock of the Big Ten. People are going to be copying Indiana. They're going to be looking at what Cristobal has done down in Miami. Teams are looking at this left and right. If you ask me, and I hate to bring up my favorite conversational topic, look at what Bama's doing in the portal. How everybody is dogging Bama right now in the portal, but DeBoer, especially last night, okay, 3 players were visiting Alabama yesterday, Tuscaloosa. All 3 signed with Bama. Okay, is it because they were the last guys left in the portal? Yeah, I don't know. But last time I checked, that center that they signed from Cal Poly had 700 snaps last year, building the team on experience, and that's what teams like Indiana and Miami have done.
Well, I'll even go a step further than that. Why did anybody offer Ty Simpson, who we as Alabama fans thought, oh, he's washed up? October Ty is not,
October Ty was healthy Ty.
Yeah,
December Ty is not October Ty.
Right. It's not healthy Ty.
Yeah. So tell me how in January Ty is offered $6.5 million by 2 different. From my understanding, Miami offered him $6.5 million, and then Ole Miss offered to match whatever Miami did. I think with this experience and everything, it is so different than college basketball. When college basketball went to the one and done, and they could immediately go to pro and everything, college basketball has seen some crazy changes. With you had 4-year starters. 4 years at the university, they would be the ones who held up the trophy. And then all of a sudden you had a couple teams that went and got these one and dones, and because they changed the rule for the NBA. And then all of a sudden you had you had teams that were like, oh, I don't want to mess with these one and dones. And then Kentucky was like, well, we'll take all 5 of them. Thank you. And then all of a sudden when the NBA changed the rule with the D League and the G League and all these other things, now the guys that are going in to play college basketball are there because they want to play college basketball.
Well, you have to still play college now, I think the rule is, because the G League got the college team that was supposedly for the G League, the kids that were going one and done, they want to go ahead and get paid.
Yeah.
That's no longer a thing, I don't think.
Right, but they could you have them more going towards other ways to get into the NBA than staying 4 years at college.
Yes.
Well, now the ones that are staying 4 years at college are once again winning, Final Fours and championships and stuff.
You're saying that experience matters, even in college sports.
And so you've got to be able to, the teams that are going to win, like you're saying with Cignetti in Miami here, Miami built a team up and then we're like, we are a quarterback away.
Yeah.
That's why they went and paid Carson Beck $4 million to come down there, because they knew they were a quarterback away. Indiana, there's a reason Ole Miss and Miami offered Ty Simpson $6.5 million to be their quarterback for 1 year next year, is because they think with all the other pieces they have around, they're a Ty Simpson away from a national championship.
Is it worth $6.5 million?
Yes.
For 1 year,
yes,
and a national championship. Okay, let's say they win one this year. Is it still worth it to go and grab a guy for $6.5 million?
Better believe it. You're creating that legacy. If Miami turns around and wins 2 back-to-back, guess what? The U is back. I mean, if you win 2 back-to-back, I'm sorry.
To my standpoint, the U will never be back.
Not the U as
it's not the same
that
U
you never knew.
That I never knew. I was too young to see, right?
All right.
But the U, in a standpoint of, the U is coming back. No, they will never be back. There's no Michael Irvin. There's no Ray Lewis. All these players, there's no Jimmy Johnson on this team. What there is there's a very good physical, methodical team that Mario Cristobal is running.
And that's be honest, that's Cristobal's talking point too. He doesn't want all this.
Oh, yeah, he hates
no,
it.
he doesn't want the whole U is back.
He is trying to create their own legacy. Okay.
Yes.
But if they turn around and sign the kid from Duke, which looks like it's going to happen,
Sorry,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. They're creating this program that you build this quarterback in, you get them in 1 year at a time. So what? It doesn't matter how you put the team together.
And I've always
it matters if you win in football games. And right now they're winning football games,
Mm-hmm.
and they're a game away from saying, "Hey, can Miami win back to back?" I think they can.
I've always said the scariest thing in the NIL era of college football is waiting for a sleeping giant like Miami to wake up in this era. Because here's the deal about it. Miami is perfectly located for NIL.
Oh, yeah.
You have one of the biggest cities in the country, one of the biggest party cities in the country. One of, this is a team that, a millionaire is going to sit there and donate $1 million. Hey, does the team want to come on my private yacht for the weekend to recover, to do this, to do that? How many recruits are going to sit there and say, we can go to the private yacht this weekend?
Hey,
there's pools on there.
Check out Eli's comment.
Eli hitting us up on YouTube. Crazy how Miami just brought Duke's quarterback after Duke helped Miami get into the playoff.
I hadn't put that 2 and 2 together yet.
I hadn't put that one together yet.
I will even go a step further than that. I think it starts to feed off itself. You said, is it worth $6.5 million? Let's say Miami holds up the trophy Monday night.
Yeah.
And then turned around and gave Ty Simpson $6.5 million to come be their quarterback next year, and they hold it up a second time.
Yeah.
Well, now people are starting to talk about whether you want to agree or whether you don't, whether or not the U is back. The thought and theory behind the U is back. People are now talking about the U. They are thinking about the U. When you turn the TV on and watch Monday Night Football, and it's blah, 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 Carson Beck, the University of Miami, blah, 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 the University of Miami. That then feeds into these kids, and they hear, and that's what happened with Alabama. That's why Nick Saban was so great, because it fed on itself, and you started hearing Mark Ingram, University of Alabama, Julio Jones, the University of Alabama, on Monday Night Football, on Sunday Night Football, and so it starts to grow on itself. Also, you were talking about taking them out on a private yacht. I am sorry. If you're an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid who lives in anywhere north of Tennessee, and it's 14 degrees outside and there's 6 inches of snow on the ground, and Miami goes, hey, why don't you come down here and check out South Beach?
And it's, from that standpoint, okay? And I've always said this about these schools that are centrally located in these big, big cities, right? They are could be the biggest winners of NIL because of the money flowing in through that city, okay? Like I said with the private yacht analogy, if you get a kid, an 18, 19-year-old kid sits there and says, I can do this on every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I can go on the private yacht this weekend. I'm setting this up for you get a kid that's used to snowy degree weather in Ohio and Kentucky. You get these kids that are just used to this very cold environment. You sit them down in Miami for a weekend in a hotel right over the bay.
Look what Mr. Experience did, Carson Beck. Why is he at Miami right now? Who did he chase down there?
A girl.
Yeah.
What's one thing that's gotten every man in the world in trouble at some point in time?
Yeah. We won't say those names because we personally don't want to get sued, but
yeah,
he chased a girl down to Miami. At least that's what it looks like in the public. That's what all the headlines said. I'm sure there was a lot more going on in the background.
It's deer season, and what gets a deer shot?
I've always said the same thing about Hawaii. If you were to get the right NIL money through Hawaii and then sold the kid on the campuses,
I think Miami's too far away, though.
Hawaii.
Yeah. Because I think, okay, you think if you take an 18-year-old kid that far away from mommy and daddy and everything they've ever known, it's still too far. Like, you take a kid from Ohio to Miami with NIL money, they can fly home on a weekend and everything.
Yeah.
But I think Hawaii, even then, is still too far away, and they just don't have the name.
Well, you don't. You're right. I mean, I think they should adopt back the Rainbow Warriors.
Yes.
Aren't they just the Warriors now? They should have never changed the Rainbow Warriors. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. Guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in and hanging out and really just engaging with us throughout this morning. We still got 2 more segments here on the show here. This is 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. Huge shout out to everybody who's coming to the show today via YouTube as well as the radio side on YouTube. Late in the show here, hit us up as Greasy Does It. He's saying, yo, what's up, Greasy Does It? But Anthony also hit us up on YouTube. Eli, John hit us up as well this morning. Brooks, Big D over there as well. Eli, Levi, all these people hitting us up through YouTube. We really appreciate y'all coming in and spending y'all Saturday morning with us. And guys, don't forget, we may have a national championship coming up on Monday, but that doesn't mean the season's over for us. We have to do the unspoken thing and say off season.
The off season
is upon us. It's about to be here with us, but that's maybe the most fun time of the year for us. We get to do a lot of things that we can't do during the regular season, go further with the what ifs, a lot of stories from throughout the season. Just have a lot of fun with the show as we come up with stuff to do over the off season. But of course, same thing. Everything stays the same. Saturday mornings right here, 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville, as well as YouTube and iHeart. And then on Wednesday, we do the midweek update exclusively on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. So, guys, there's no reason to go anywhere. You guys can still be a part of the show, even all the way through the off season. So, we do have to take one more quick break. And on the other side, we're going to get to pick them. So, leave your comment who you think is going to win the national championship on Monday, Miami or Indiana. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. 7:30 a.m. 1039 FM Jocks Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. We're getting ready for pick'ems here. We've been heavy on the chat over here, favoring Indiana.
Well,
only one Miami in there.
There's a reason people in the chat are heavy on Miami, because the folks out there in the desert are heavy on Indiana.
Again, convince me a reason why Miami has a path to win this game. But until then,
okay,
well, this is experience, baby. That's how their path goes. All done through the arm of Carson Beck.
So we only got one game, but
yeah,
so we call it pick'ems. There's an S there, so I'll give you a second one real quick. The over under is 48.5.
Dude, that's low.
It's real low for this game.
So are you taking the over or the under?
I'm taking the over on this.
Yeah,
completely.
Over. Yeah.
That's low.
That's like a 24-24 game. I mean, if so, what'd you say it was?
48.5. So
48.5. Even if you take some of the comments, right? Even the comments are all 42, 46. Maybe that's right on. Vegas gets that spot on most of the time.
I don't know. All right, guys, let's get to pick'ems.
All right, Monday night from Miami live. You've got Miami versus Indiana. Indiana is minus 7.5 right now. Excuse me, minus 8.5 right now.
So, like I've said the whole day, I want to be convinced why Miami has the path to win this game. And I've seen ruthless efficiency, like I keep saying, from Indiana. They have completely turned Alabama into glue. They went out there against Oregon and completely threw the first punch, and Oregon could not figure out how to get back into the ball game. Miami has to control the line on both sides of the game. They have to put pressure on Mendoza, and when Cignetti figures out a way to adjust to that, they have to adjust right back. It's a chess match completely. Mark Fletcher Jr. and Miami's running core has to get going in this game, and they have to take over the game and then let Carson Beck's experience in the game of the past 7 years control the tempo of it. You need 40 minutes. 40 straight up minutes of time of possession in this game for Miami. And I do not see it happening. Give me the Indiana Hoosiers.
All right. Okay. So you guys have heard me talk about experience for the last 4 weeks, and I have been on this Carson Beck bandwagon. I think experience. He's been in college football. He's not going to get shaken on the big stage. It's another game for him. He's got a home football game for his last big celebration, right? So, and then, and I also sit there and think that, it's not like Miami has played cupcake teams coming up to this game. Miami, we have said they're the team. They're the hottest team. They're the most physical team. Okay. And I think honest answer from my perspective at the position, and Mendoza's not an inexperienced quarterback. I just think Beck has been there, done that. Okay. And, and I'm going to hop on a bigger bandwagon now with a certain premier project management family that we know, a local construction company in Huntsville. I know they're going to be rooting for the Miami Hurricanes, and so will I.
That's cute.
Yeah, it was cute.
That was cute. So you're taking Miami?
Oh, yeah, all day long.
Plus the points or straight up?
No, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll take them either way.
Okay, all right. You've asked all day, how can Miami win this game?
Yeah.
I think I've beat it like a dead horse today. I think they've got to run the ball. The problem with that is that just gives this offense time and Cignetti time to sit on that sideline and go, oh, okay, that's what you're going to do. And then he's going to make a change. The question is, can Cristobal come back and make a change? And then can Beck pull out some sort of, third and fourth quarter, magic with his arm, which wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility. But like I have said all morning, I think the one thing that keeps Miami in this game or gives Miami the chance to win this game is what keeps Indiana in the game. And I think when it's all said and done, the clock is going to strike midnight for Cinderella, but not until after Mr. Heisman has held up the trophy in Miami. And there's only one way this can be the 2019 LSU Tigers, and that is that the 2025-26 season Indiana Hoosiers have to go undefeated and hold the trophy up at the end so that they can just completely fall apart in the next 3 years. And so I am going to take the over, and I am taking Indiana and the points. I think it's not even close when it's all said and done.
Just remember, Kels, I've
Have you
picked
favored
Miami
Indiana?
from the start of this.
You have.
I have not dropped off of it.
I know.
Yeah.
Pops has been consistent throughout this whole playoff run. He had Miami picked. He continued to have a pick.
And to be the man, you got to beat the man, and Indiana beat Alabama.
Pops, think about it. If you were to actually put together your predictions,
Yeah, I don't.
and put it public, if he would have put Miami on that pedestal, he'd be looking like a genius right now.
If you listen to the show, you know that I am a genius when it comes to picking Miami.
Well, but I'd put graphics out at the beginning of the postseason.
I mean, he asked. He sent out text and everything. I saw it.
I put in a thing playing boss and said, hey, give me this stuff, and I'm going to turn it into this, and that.
Yeah.
And it made me look like an idiot. I don't remember who you picked.
I had Texas Tech, Georgia playing for the national championship, and Georgia winning it.
Okay. Well, we have 2 on Indiana, 1 for Pops on Miami. Guys, national championship coming up Monday. All of you guys tuning in, big shout out to y'all. Thank you. Everybody from Sarasota, Florida to Paducah, Kentucky, and then back home here in North Alabama. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. We'll be back with you Wednesday and then, of course, Saturday here on 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show.